So going from here, this is why we thought having a practice balance in our panel is also a great idea. So I requested Dr. S.P. Sharma, Chief Economist of PhD Chamber of Commerce, and he kindly agreed to our request. So Dr. Sharma, if I can invite you and have your ideas on primarily the solution side. I think we have dealt on the problem side and we have certain observations. Primarily on the solution side, how do you think industry is looking at it, and what are the pain points of industry which policy should address?
Thank you, BIMTECH, for inviting me, for expressing my viewpoint and representing the thought process of my chamber, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Respected Professor Santosh Malhotra ji, Professor Ajit Mishra ji, Professor Alak Sharma ji, Shri Harish Singh ji, Dr. D. D'Souza, Professor Rahul Singh ji, and all the participants and audience. Thank you very much and very good evening. Now, coming to the topic, firstly, I must appreciate that this is very good topic because this is now becoming very, very significant for the ongoing activity of the businesses and economy to move forward and to post a comfortable growth rate going forward. Because if the migrant workers are not coming back, then there will be a huge impact on the overall economic trajectory of the country. But the business activity is now coming back and improving gradually. During the last 1.5 months, there is a lot of improvement in the business activity. The movement of migrant workers has impacted the economic and business activities too. But with the shortage of workers, now the businesses are trying to meet up their capacity requirements, to meet up their capacities and to meet up the demand in the economy. And the small firms are least impacted because of the migrant workers, whereas medium and large firms are severely impacted by the daunting impact of pandemic COVID-19. I think that may be the reason that small firms deploy more local labor and large firms are more open to the migrant workers because of the scale of the workforce in their respective factories. Overall, industry is at around 60 to 65% of the capacity utilization according to our various interactions with the industry people. Small and medium-sized firms are at around 70% and the large firms at around 60% of their capacity utilization. Overall, the capacity utilization is somewhere between 60 to 65% according to a recent interaction with the small, medium and large-sized business firms. And small and medium-sized firms, they have huge capacity to utilize, but they are impacted by the liquidity situation. Their working capital requirement is still impacted because of the reluctant behavior by the banking sector, because they are not able to get the adequate funds from the banking sector, and rates are still in the high trajectory because though RBI has reduced significantly the repo rate, but that is not transmitted fully at the ground level, and business firms, particularly the MSMEs, are facing hardship to get finances from the banking sector, that too at the lower level. And most of the businesses have tried to call their respective migrant workers from their respected villages, but they are still in fear that there will be some another lockdown and they will stuck it at other places once again and face hardship to come back at their native places. So that's why they are reluctant to come back, and still the confidence is not there. So going forward, there is a need to build confidence between workforce, industry and the government, and some clear-cut picture that how we are going to tackle this COVID situation, which is becoming worse and worse each day across the globe. So there is a need to provide them adequate and strong assurance about their safety and continuous support from the employer, provide them fair and facility to transportation, medical insurance policies, to them and their families, and advanced wage payments also. They are because now they are not facing some confidence. So to build the confidence, I think we have to take a lot of efforts to meet up their requirements and to build them uh, in the strong confidence. And because now the topic is that Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, how these two states are going to tackle this situation. Uttar Pradesh and Bihar are the most affected states by reverse migration of workers from workplace to their native place. More than 4 million migrant workers returned during this movement during the last 2-3 months. And together, these two states, I believe, are comprising more than 50% of the most affected districts in India. And such a high reverse movement of workers will have significant implications uh, for uh, for the employment scenario of the migrant workers going forward. Uh, However, to deal with the situation, Government of India launched the Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana recently on 20th June, uh, which is for the 116 districts, and of which six most affected states are there: Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, and I believe Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. The program is structured to run for 125 days and aims to ensure that workers and laborers are given work in their hometown and for their to meet up day-to-day requirements. And of these 116 districts, 63 have been selected from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. As many as 32 to 38 districts are from Bihar, and 63 from Uttar Pradesh, and 31 out of the 75 districts in Uttar Pradesh are covered under this scheme. So this is, I think, some relief for the migrant workers uh, to provide them adequate livelihood at this difficult time. Uh, Nevertheless, during these sensitive times, the policy makers shall focus at developing the confidence among the skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled workers who have made an enormous contribution in the development of our cities, states, industries, exports, and the overall growth trajectory of the country. And going forward, I believe the role of the workers from these two states, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, will be very, very significant to push the growth trajectory of the country and to meet up the target of $5 trillion by 24-25. So we can't afford this migration in the long term, but of course in the shorter period, because we are facing the difficult times, so we have to facilitate them with the adequate livelihood facilities. These are the tough times, and this is not
Okay.
for one segment. This is for all of us, uh, and uh, so we have to facilitate these migrant workers and various segments of the society, and the government is doing a lot. And going forward, we have few suggestions like social security measures shall be there to ensure survival of migrants in these two uh, major states, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. And family medical insurances can be provided to the migrant workers because now they are in fear that how to meet up the day-to-day and livelihood requirements in this very, very difficult time. And I believe uh, more than half of the migrants in India are taking place only in search of employment and business opportunities. And rural development is the key to reduce migrations and attract business houses and producers to set up their production plants or hubs in these areas. I believe there is a need for transformation because our rural segments are also very, very, very educate areas for the growth and development going forward because rural areas are contributing a lot in India's growth story. So going forward to meet up the requirements of the rural areas and to meet up the requirements of the industry also like land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. land and labor can be meet up by the rural areas, and they can very much set up their enterprises in these areas. And cheap labor and land will also be available in these areas. So MSMEs can be encouraged, and large businesses can also be encouraged and incentivized to invest in these areas for the production processes. And now the major focus of the government is to facilitate the MSME sector, because MSME sector is going to become the backbone of the Indian economy, and this will be a major participant in India's growth story, and particularly for becoming a $5 trillion economy by 24-25. So at this juncture, I think this is time. This is a good time, and time is most opportune to provide facilitation to not only to the businesses but also to the rural areas. They will find a lot of employment opportunities in the promising areas like rural enterprises, food processing industries, and because we are an agrarian economy, but our contribution in the global food and uh, agri and food imports is very meager. We are only less than 0.5% of the global imports. So we have a good opportune time to enhance this trajectory, and from the level of 30 to 35 billion dollar in food items, the exports can be enhanced to the level of $100 billion in the next 2-3 years, and then we can target 200 billion in the next 7 to 8 years. That will create a lot of employment opportunities. I believe millions of employment opportunities for the rural young workforce. I believe this will happen only if there is a strong coordination between the government, industry, and the rural segments, particularly the workers. And workers, I think, they will be ready to work in these industry areas because they want employment, and that too in their respective and native places. So this is a good time, and we have to support them, and we have to reframe our policy according to this difficult time, according to this COVID-19 impact of this COVID-19 on overall economic growth of the country. So I believe we have to explore the opportunities for the migrant workers in their native areas, and this is a opportune time also that we connect industry and migrant workers and the rural segments, and MSME is more keen to work there, and with the availability of the cheap labor and the availability of land at reasonable cost. So I'm open for questions from the audience.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma, for making an industry perspective. I think this was very important. Primarily, when you're talking about medium-term and long-term policy interventions and engagements.